This is Michael Gerace with Clearview Sewer Cams. We are located at 42 Doone Street, Thousand Oaks, California. And we are performing a video waistline and sewer line inspection through the 3-inch cast iron waistline cleanout in the master bedroom closet. Camera out here, and we got a safe right next to us. And this is the closet area. There's a couple more safes next to us, and the bedroom area. And we're going to wipe down our camera lens real quick a little bit. Insert our camera lens. We're going to set our camera lens right at the clean out, and we're going to zero out our camera monitor so we get a good accurate reading. There we go. We're zeroed out. We're going to insert our camera. And we're into cast iron pipe and fittings. So we have a cast iron waistline under the slab. Now we're pushing out toward the front of the house. And the cast iron appears to be in fair and maintainable condition right here. Not too much buildup or scaling. Take a little turn. We have a little bit of buildup here and there, but nothing drastic, nothing to be concerned about. And then we should transition probably to vitreous clay. We'll find out when we get out the front. Get a little bit more buildup here. As I said, not drastic so far. Pretty common, but as we get toward the front of the house, we get a little bit more buildup. So it would be advantageous to install a mainline sewer cleanout at the front of the house and hydrojet backwards, coming back toward this back closet area where the cleanout is, to clean all the buildup out. It's always good to have a mainline sewer cleanout at the front of the house. If you have a stoppage, very difficult to get sewer equipment in here, and it can get pretty messy. Better to have it at the front of the house. Okay, now we're transitioning right here. We do have some root intrusion right at the joint from the cast iron to the vitreous clay at the front of the house. We're at about 49 feet, and we will locate this after. We're going to run all the way out. We'll locate this area after, and generally this would be an optimum area to install a mainline sewer cleanout is right at the transition from the cast iron to the vitreous clay, and you can take care of that root intrusion problem right at the same time. And we also have another root intrusion right next to it. Not huge roots, but we got substantial root intrusion there. If you put the cleanout in there, you could probably take care of that at the same time. The next joint, take a look. The next joint, we have some pretty big root intrusion there. We have root intrusion here at this joint, and we have root intrusion at the next joint. And as I said, we'll mark these areas when we wrap up and we're pulling back. Now we're in vitreous clay. That's quite a bit of root intrusion in this area. Now we have root intrusion in the next joint as well. So we got quite a bit of root intrusion, and that root intrusion does not, I can't tell if it's coming through the joint, which it probably is, or the piping. I think it's coming through the joint. But there's a considerable amount of root intrusion through that joint as well. And this appears to be vitreous clay. And we have some buildup in here. Really hard to tell. We're going to have to really run out and take a look at this. This might not even be vitreous clay. This could be Orangeburg sewer piping because it's got a huge lump in it. It's got a hump right here at this point. And you're not going to get that in vitreous clay unless we have some roots under it and some debris over the top of roots. Those humps generally indicate Orangeburg piping. Yeah, and we have more humps on the left-hand side. We have some huge humps right here. which this would generally indicate Orangeburg piping. We'll keep going out and we'll take a look. It does look like Orangeburg piping, more so now. Keep running out. Then we transition to vitreous clay right here at this point at 68 feet. And that looks like the test tee, more than likely at the property line. From this point out, we've probably got about 35 feet of vitreous clay, or possibly 40 feet to the city sewer, if we're correct in where we're believing this is. And then we'll take a look on the way back and we'll locate. Running out now. It's all vitreous clay. Vitreous clay, you're going to have joints about every 4 feet, and I think this might have transitioned now to concrete piping because I don't see a joint. You probably have joints every 10 feet. That does appear to be concrete piping now in the street. That's at 81 feet, and we should have another coupling or something at about 91 feet. And we have another coupling at about 91 feet. That is concrete piping. So we're going to continue to push out. Probably got about another 10-15 feet before we hit the city sewer. Making a turn. This is generally our city sewer tie-in connection after the turn. And that is our city sewer connection right there. So we're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we've resumed our recording. We're at the city sewer saddle connection, and this area appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. And we're going to begin pulling back now. That joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. A little bit of a crack in the saddle, which is common. That's common for a concrete pipe. I am going to have to take a look at this after. I'm going to blow it up. I'm also going to talk to an inspector and see what they think about maybe putting a liner over the saddle area, since we do have the crack. I'll pause for a moment. You see this? Okay, we're going to continue to pull back. We have that crack, and we're going to blow that up on our laptop back in the office. Continue to pull back. There's a joint. It's a joint in the concrete piping. Appears to be in fair and maintainable condition at this time. Another joint. We got a little deterioration and a small break in the concrete piping. At this point, we're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we're going to continue to pull back. So we've got that area. We get it quite a bit in the joints where we get cracks and we get breaks in the joints. The rest of the piping appears to be in fair condition, but most of the time you cannot just fix the concrete piping. The city will want you to replace it. Now we transition right here to vitreous clay. Now we're coming back up, and that joint appears to be in fair and maintainable condition. And that's our inspection tee, so we could fill the line and test it back to the house. And then we transition back to Orangeburg piping. We can see now that it is Orangeburg piping. I can see it bubbled and blistered a little bit here, and especially the other blisters. Little gouges in it, the roughness, making a turn. We're going to pause right here for just a moment, and we're going to locate this area and mark this area out. So we're going to pause our video and pause our audio, go out and locate. Okay, we're going to resume our recording. We've located this area in the grass, and it's on the right-hand side of the walkway just before the sidewalk area. We located it at 4 foot 9 inches deep, and we marked it with an orange flag. Now we're going to begin pulling back, and this is our transition from vitreous clay to Orangeburg piping. Now we'll pull back. We're going to pull back to the point where we transition from cast iron. I believe we had a little bit of vitreous clay, and then we had the Orangeburg piping. We kind of got stuck there a little bit with the camera spring. I mean, we have some very, very large humps in the pipe, as you can see. There's probably tree roots trying to push up, or pipe just buckling. It is rolled and compressed vitreous fiber piping, which is like tar paper, rolled tar paper. And we have some more humps, a little bit of humps in there. And the two areas that we showed you were the worst. We have some root intrusion at that joint, and that's midway in the yard. So the roots have penetrated the joint. And I think we have some more humps here. I felt it getting stuck a little bit. Yep, we have some large humps right there. This is very common with Orangeburg piping. Now, this is our transition from Orangeburg piping to vitreous clay. So we're going to pause for one more moment. We're going to go back out. We're going to locate this area and mark this area. Okay, we're resuming recording, and we are right at the Orangeburg piping to vitreous clay piping transition, which is right on the landing area before the porch. We marked it with a red crayon at 3 feet deep, 3 feet 0 inches. We're going to begin pulling back. Now we have our vitreous clay here, and we have root intrusion in our vitreous clay, several areas, as you can see as we're pulling back. And we're going to pull back all the way to our cast iron piping. Very difficult to tell right here. We have the roots. I think we still have vitreous clay. Just have some root intrusion possibly. And let's see if we have cast iron. I think that's the cast iron. Okay, that's cast iron. So now we're going to push back out. We got a little debris on our camera lens. Then we're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we've rinsed our camera lens off, and now we're pulling back again. We're going to pull back to the cast iron, which is right here. That's our cast iron to vitreous clay transition. And we're going to go outside, and we're going to locate this area and mark this area out. So we're going to pause for a moment. Okay, we've marked this area out on the little concrete pad right before the step up to the entranceway to the house. And we marked it with a red crayon at 2 foot 8 inches deep. And we may have to remove that section of concrete pad to replace the vitreous clay and get all the way back to the cast iron. So we're going to begin pulling back now through the cast iron. We've got roots right there in that joint too, so we've got to replace it right to that area. And from what I recall, we didn't really see anything, a little bit of buildup. Didn't see anything too bad in the cast iron. Normal buildup, scaling. Didn't see any other root intrusions or signs of deterioration where it's penetrated the cast iron piping. Do we have any holes in it? Kind of hard to tell until you hydrojet this and get it clean. You could have some small root intrusions. There's areas where I'm not positive. I see some things hanging down from the top, but it may not be. That could be a bug. It's very difficult to tell. Once you hydrojet the cast iron, then you can take a good look at it and see what condition it's in. We may have a crack right here on the left-hand side by the 9 o'clock area. There is a crack, but it could be just in the buildup and not in the piping. But that's very difficult to tell until it's hydrojetted. And you could probably shoot a liner in the cast iron, clean it real well, hydrojetting, and run a picote tool, which is like a bicycle chain with blades, and clean it up real good and shoot a liner in there when you've got that open, if we had to. We're going to continue to pull back. There's a connection. Making a turn. Making another turn. Pulling back toward our waistline clean out in the master bedroom closet. 3-inch cast iron waistline clean out. Pulling back, coming up. And we're pulling out of our waistline clean out. And that will conclude our waistline and sewer line inspection.